Okay, so Rise of Skywalker Rey lightsaber is complete. This was a 3D printed hilt from Koenig Haus 3D printing. You can find them on Facebook. So pretty much this came in separate pieces. 1, 2, 3, this whole thing 4, 5, and then the pommel is 6, and then the holder is 7. Comes as white, at least this one did. I painted this using all flat black because that seemed to look closest to the original prop. I noticed in the shot from the movie there were screws here in the cog, and here. I imagined that there was one down at the bottom there, just so that it matches that, so I put one there. And I made sure everything else was painted. Leather wrap, cloth over here. I tried to match it up as close as I could to the movie as far as color and everything, but there's not a lot of super detailed info out there. Nano biscotti V4 soundboard is in here, loaded with 3 sound fonts, one of which is a completely custom boot sound and ignition hold right from the Rise of Skywalker. The other 2 are well, you'll see. So I'm gonna do the first one. This is actually the star of the show.
I'm Rey Skywalker.
And when we turn these, when this screw and this screw match up, that's when the actual button is activating. So push it on through. Oh, kind of hard to do this one-handed with this. There we go. Got a nice yellow to match the movie. Light comes through the vents there, just like in the movie. So, since this is a cog, that screw is helpful for determining, which way you gotta turn it back to turn it off. So you gotta make them cross paths. So, so we want to change sound fonts, move it so that these are aligned. Go to the next sound font.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
So. She wanted the main yellow and then blue and green, so. Then the final one, since she also wanted green, there was no movie where Rey had a green lightsaber, but she was talking with Luke, and this is something that he said to her, so I found it appropriate.
It's time for the Jedi to end.
And then the pommel was open on the bottom, so I put a pommel cover that I had 3D printed. It's actually very similar to the Darth Vader one. Just kind of fit the look of it. Underneath here, if you wanted to take the blade out, you can kind of, as you notice, anybody that's been, my daughter, of course, anybody that's been seeing any videos I make, I still haven't bought or made a new tripod. You just pull that off. You want to push that from the bottom, not up here, of course, because you can see the teeth. So you just push it on up. It might take some force, so you might just jimmy it up a little bit. You have a set screw here. It doesn't screw into the blade. which I tried that. I tried to tap a hole and the blade just kind of wobbles around in there. So you have to make sure that it's going against a solid part of the blade. Just tighten it down with the supplied set screw, Allen wrench. I mean, I actually provided a much larger set screw than was originally provided, because with the one that came with it, the blade was still kind of run around, but this one, it's pretty solid in there. And then there is a notch right there that goes over the set screw. There's also a second version of this that came with it, that shows as if the saber is off and these are closed. I should have brought that out with me, but there we go. So I just align it with the hole and then push it on down. So that is it. I love this thing. I think I might do one for myself. So again, for operation. Oh, and before I forget, actually, the original chassis, or the chassis that it came with, I should say, was intended for a replaceable battery, which with the 3D printed parts, I didn't want for the pommel cap to get loose after a while of having to pull this off. So I converted it so that it was a chargeable saber. So see the side of the saber where all the screws are up front? That's where the charging port is also located. If you notice this one piece of leather that's kind of at an angle, and then you see this little mouth here, it is actually right underneath there, hidden very nicely. You just plug in the supplied charger. When it's red, it's charging. Once it's green, it's full. If it's been on the charger for a while and it's still red, unplug it, plug it back in, and then that should trigger whether or not it still needs to be charged, or if it's just not reading that it's full. So again, operation. When you initially start this thing up the first time, when you go to turn it on, it probably won't do that right away. You'll probably hear the boot sound, which will be one of these.
Ray Skywalker.
So after you go to turn it on, gotta wait for it to completely finish. So we just move it so that that screw passes that screw completely. And I'm pressing this up against my stomach, that's why it's so quiet there. It's the only way I can do it. Turning it off, same thing. I set the delay to 0 milliseconds, so it's instant. If you want to change sound fonts, you move it so that this is over this. Now, you hear one beep. If you move it out of the way, then that's silent, where it'll just be on, but no sound. Still operates just the same. Now, if we do that, but we leave it for 2 beeps, 1, 2, we're in the next sound font bank. You could either leave it there to go through the sound fonts, or you can move it out of the way, and then we just turn that on. Turn it off again. Go to the next sound font. 1. See? Silent mode if we move it out of the way after the first one. Move them back in so that they're touching again. Second one.
It's time for the Jedi
And there's the next one.
to end.
Now, I'll kind of cycle through them so you can see what I mean.
I'm Ray.
We just leave it on there. It's just going to cycle through the sound fonts. See? Since that's held in, it's just cycling through them.
To show me my place in all this.
So, there you have it. This is, I think, at least just the right. It's not too quick to move, but it's not too hard to move. It's easy enough to do with one hand, and it'll get easier over time. Can't go too quickly over it, it might not register. I also sanded the blade to make sure that the colors mix a lot better, because when it's a non-sanded blade, sometimes you can see the individual colors, but here the colors blend a lot better. So this is going out 2-day express tomorrow, which a lot of times it actually just gets there the next day, so I wouldn't be surprised if it got there Wednesday. All right, so there we have it. Think there's any other notes other than I want one too. I'm probably gonna make one once I have some time. That's the belt clip there, right? That thing there. But I'd say be cautious with it. It seems kind of thin. Even if it was metal, it seems kind of thin to be a belt clip. But yeah, enjoy.